episode of the When Life Happens podcast. I am your host, William Jackson, and I'm so excited because we have another opportunity to live, learn, and grow together. And I don't know where you are in the world. I don't know where you're watching. I don't know where you're listening from. But for those of us who have had an incredible experience this week, I felt that it was necessary to stop and highlight the incredible experience that we were able to have all over the world. I remember having this experience in 2017, and I don't know if I had it to the level of this magnetism or this importance, but man, this week something happened that I'm hearing won't happen again for another 70 something years. Now, some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who don't, let me show you. Now, for those of you who can't see me, if you're not watching me on YouTube, what you can't see is that I am styling and profiling in my total solar eclipse glasses. I think they look good on me. What do you think? I think they look good, styling and profiling, but can't see a thing. I literally can see nothing. But man, we had an incredible experience. The total solar eclipse. I mean, we gathered from all over. People came out with their lawn chairs. People came out with their blankets, with their families. Kids were out of school. Do you know they shut down schools? Let's just stop right here. Let's stop and let's just talk about the fact that leading up to this eclipse, one of the things that got on my nerves was so much fear propaganda that was being forced down the throats of people. I can't tell you how many news outlets I saw, how many media professionals, how many news stories were done that were telling people that this was going to be the end of time. People were saying, you need to buy bread, you need to buy water, you need to make sure that your phones are charged because electricity is going to go out. You need to make sure that you have your pertinent information stashed away because the internet is going to go out. They even kept kids out of school. They shut down school for this lunar eclipse or this total solar eclipse because the fear propaganda had risen to such a degree that everybody believed that this could be the last moments that we share together. It's incredible how much fear has become a guiding post for how we transition through life. What's even more crazy is not just how many people were pushing fear, but how many people were actually believing that this could be the end just because a bunch of people said so. I mean, they had maps of how this was coming over Nineveh, and Nineveh was the city that God judged, and this could be God judging the world, and how this is going to make a perfect X, and all of these things are going to take place. And people have their own assumptions of everything that's going to take place. Now, I think that's imperative to just stop and have some takeaways just on this part of the experience alone. Number one is everybody is going to have their version of the story. And no matter what you are coming up against, fear is the enemy of progress. There are always going to be times where the things that you are trying to do, the things that you are preparing for, the things that you are working towards is always going to be challenged by a fear narrative. You can find it in friends, you can find it in family members, you can find it in people that you are connected to. Whenever you are ready to step out to do something unusual, whenever you are ready to step out and do something that you have never done, watch how the fear narrative begins to rise. Watch how many people will say, I don't think so. This isn't the right time. Maybe you should hold off. Maybe you should wait. Maybe you should just table this idea because this is not the time for you to step out and do something that is unstable, unusual, that is out of the ordinary. This isn't the time to challenge the status quo. You can always find the fear narrative in people whenever you are ready to step out and do something new, whenever you are ready to step out and do something that is expansive, whenever you are about to stretch yourself, people always resist the urge to be stretched. People will always resist the urge to be stretched. Why? Because we like our comfort. We like the things that make us comfortable. We like the things that have us in our place of safety. People don't just venture out to step out into uncomfortable situations just for the fun of it. People just don't have a natural inclination to say, I'm going to step out and do something unusual. Our brains are wired to search for the comfort. What is the easiest way? The shortest distance between two lines or 2 points is a straight line. People always want to figure out, how can I get there quicker? How can I get there faster? How can I get there with more comfort, more ease, and without any hardship, any testing, any trials? How can I get there as quick as possible and as comfortable as possible? But can I tell you something? That if you are going to accomplish anything that has value, any level of greatness, it will never be done within the confines of comfort. Fear is always going to be present. But when you are faced with fear, the one thing that you have to do is be willing to face it and replace it. Be willing to say, I know what people are saying. I know what the status quo is. I know what the statistics are. I know what's happening within the market. But if I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is my area that I have been called to, that this is my place where I know that I can win and succeed, that this is my dream, this is my destiny, this is my goal, and I'm confident in it, I can't be shackled and chained by the fear narrative. So many people were pushing fear leading up to this total solar eclipse, because this just happens every so often and it's a once in a lifetime thing, and people are saying that this is not going to happen for another 70 something years. So then what happens is that now it puts in people's mind that I have to make sure that I'm available, that I'm present, because this is a once in a lifetime experience. Now, for those of us that were there and who experienced it, I'm here to tell you it was a magical moment. No, let me rephrase that. It was literally a spiritual moment. I don't remember the total solar eclipse in 2017 being of this magnitude. When we were out there, my wife, my son, our friends, people from the city, we were all out there, and we had our lawn chairs, and they said, even to the degree that you couldn't even point your phone directly at the solar eclipse, that you had to take your phone and put the glasses around your phone lens so that the eclipse or the rays or whatever was going to be transmitted would not destroy your camera lens. So, like everyone else, what do? We put our glasses, solar eclipse glasses, over the lens of our phone so we could try to capture some video. But we were all out there, and it was incredible, and our city did such an amazing job. And they had eclipse gum, and they had sun chips, and they were going to have moon pies, but apparently everybody bought up the moon pies. I mean, it makes sense, but it was an amazing experience. And then what happened is that the closer that it got into position, now this total solar eclipse happens when the earth, the moon, and the sun come into complete alignment. That's why this one is special. There are a lot of eclipses that takes place. They say that there's an eclipse that happens almost every 18 months or so, depending where you are in the world. But where you were or where you are was telling for what you were going to be able to see, because the path of the total solar eclipse traveled or was visible in different areas in different ways, that people that were in Cleveland and areas in Dallas and Indiana, they experienced the totality, is what they were calling it, to where there was a complete blackout and the sun was completely covered. Where we were, it was 99.7%. So it got all the way covered, or the eclipse took place so much so to the degree that it only left like a small, tiny slither of the sun visible. We would have had to drive maybe an hour and a half in order to get to a place where we could see it in totality, but we were okay with the 99.7%. That's totally fine. I don't think that it was going to change that much for us for 0.3%. But hey, we were out there and had an incredible experience. And it's something that happens, man, when you're looking through the shades, the eclipse glasses, that allows you only to be able to see what's happening up at the sun, only to be able to see the eclipse. When you put these glasses on, you can see nothing else but the eclipse, nothing else but the sun. You will run into something, someone, hit a tree, trip over a baby, trip over a cooler if you are not paying attention. But when you start to see it actually happening, and you start to see the eclipse taking place, and you start to see parts moving and parts moving and parts moving, and then you get to that last few moments where everything is being covered, it literally creates this spiritual experience. Like, everything got cold or chilly, everything was dark, so much so that the street lights came on, and all of the animals very eerily went silent. You couldn't hear a bird chirp. There was nothing happening. It seems like everything got calm. One of the people that, one of our friends that were out there, she got a call, I think LA or in California, by the water. And she said the water, all of the water got like extremely calm. There was no waves. It was literally like everything happened. And I know that there's some science behind how the sun's rays and the waves are interacting with one another, but to be out there and you start to experience this, man, I'm telling you, it was a once in a lifetime experience. It was incredible. It was incredible. My neck started to hurt after a while because we were just with our neck bent, staring at the sun, trying to figure out when it was going to happen. And it was an incredible experience. But you know me, when we have these once in a lifetime experiences, I think it's imperative to walk away with some takeaways. So, I couldn't just let you have the eclipse without having some knowledge to walk away with and some things to be made aware of. And how does this apply to your life? We already see how the fear narrative is always going to try to challenge your progress. When you are ever going to step out to do something different, something new, something bigger, the fear narrative is always coming. You have to be committed to what you started to the degree that whenever you are going up against opposition, which is oftentimes fear, your faith overrides the fear. What you believe overrides what you see, what you hear, and your resolve is based on what you know versus the things that you are experiencing around you. So, what are some of the takeaways that we can walk away with after experiencing the total solar eclipse? I'm so glad you asked. It's such a great question. It's imperative to know that this once in a lifetime experience was, for some, the only one that they will ever see, the only one that they will ever experience, the only one that they will ever have as a point in their memory bank. So, how does this resonate with you in accordance with your life, and how can you apply this to what you're doing moving forward? What I realized that this total solar eclipse No matter where you came from, the one thing that everyone had in common was that we all needed the glasses. We could not see it without the proper protection. We could not see it without having the thing that made our vision be able to come into alignment with what we were experiencing. So, what's the first takeaway? The first takeaway is that a once in a lifetime experience, a once in a lifetime opportunity requires a different level of preparation. A once in a lifetime opportunity requires a different level of preparation. You could have came out there with your picnic blanket, with your lawn chairs, with your cooler, with your snacks. You could have been all set up. You could have had an incredible spread that you were about to have, and you could have been in the nicest chair. You could have even brought a air mattress out there if you really want to be fancy so you could get comfortable. But if you did not have the proper protection, if you did not make sure that you were prepared with what you needed to gain access to what you came for, you wouldn't have been able to experience. Here's my question. What are the once in a lifetime opportunities that you are preparing for that you need to be intentional about making sure that you have the proper protection when you enter into these life-changing moments? What are the things? What are the safeguards? What are the barriers? What are the boundaries that you need to set when you are pursuing purpose to make sure that your once in a lifetime opportunity is not infiltrated by toxic thinking, by toxic communication, by fear propaganda? What are the barriers, the safeguards? What are the boundaries? What is the level of protection that you need to invest in your progress to make sure that you are not steered off course from what you desire to do and from what you are planning to do with your dreams, your destiny, your goal, and your future? What are the things that you need to be intentional about to say, okay, if I am going to set out on a mission to accomplish something that has never been done, if I am going to do something that has never been done in my family, if I'm going to do something that has never been done in my community, if I'm going to do something that has never been done in government, that has never been done in media, that has never been done in the spheres that I have influence, if I'm going to step out and start to create or get prepared for a once in a lifetime opportunity, I have to have a different level of preparation and protection. Am I prepared for what I am going into? And how am I protecting myself from being able to experience it fully? Imagine if you came out to the total solar eclipse and you spent all that time, energy, and effort just to get out there and see that you didn't have the glasses. So while everyone else is experiencing this once in a lifetime opportunity, you had to keep your head down with regret, head down with frustration because you didn't have what you needed to have to access what you came for. You need to have a different level of preparation and protection in this season. Wherever you are working on, whatever you are building, you have to understand that there's always going to be something that's trying to infiltrate it to destroy or distract. So I got to be prepared and protected. What are the barriers? What are the boundaries? Can I tell you that you can't share your dream with everyone? You can't share your ideas with everyone. You can't share what's going on in your marriage with everyone. You can't share the challenges that you are facing with everyone. Why? Because then they will begin to infiltrate your process with their fear propaganda. I say it all the time. I need people around me that speak faith. If you speak fear, now I'm not knocking you, but I need people around me that are going to speak faith, who know that whatever we come up against, we are going to come out on top. You need those people in your life that have a resolve to say, no matter what happens, we are going to win. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know what the doctor said. I know what you lost. I know what you're up against, but you are coming out on top of this. This is how we protect our progress. This is how we are prepared for a once in a lifetime opportunity. Is one, I staff my life with the proper people. Two, I limit my access for the people who are not qualified for what I am trying to build. Stop allowing, can I say this? Can I say this to you? Stop allowing people who have not built what you are trying to build tell you how to build. Stop taking insight and design advice from people who have not built what you are trying to build. They don't have the proper perspective. They can't see it because they haven't done it. So what's the next thing? What's the next thing? First thing I have to do is be prepared and protected. This once in a lifetime opportunity requires a different level of protection and a different level of preparation. What's the next thing? Is that this total solar eclipse, it happens when the sun, the moon, and the earth come into complete alignment. Your next takeaway from this solar eclipse. I bet you didn't get on today thinking, I'm going to get some lessons about the eclipse and how they apply to my life. But we are here. The next thing that you need to understand is that one moment of complete alignment can change your entire life. One moment of you coming into complete alignment, mind, body, soul, spirit, where you are coming into complete alignment with complete faith and complete agreement. One moment of you coming completely into alignment can change your entire life. So many times we don't get what we desire to get out of what we are looking for, what we're praying for, what we're working for, is because we are only giving pieces of ourselves to the process. I am only giving my mental capacity, but I haven't carved out the time so that I can be physically present. I am there emotionally, but I haven't taken the intentional effort to be able to connect to it spiritually. So many relationships fail because people are only giving pieces of themselves. Can I tell you that one moment of complete alignment in your relationship can change your entire relationship? Coming into complete alignment with one another can literally shift the trajectory of your marriage. Not you over here and I'm over here, taking a moment to say, how can we come completely into alignment? Where are you? What are the levels of that you are thinking on? Where are the levels that you are emotionally? How can we intertwine? Where are we physically? Let's create some space where we can go out and connect with one another. Where are we spiritually? What's the foundation of our marriage? Where are we? And how can we come into complete alignment? Because one moment of complete alignment can shift the trajectory of your entire marriage. One moment of complete alignment can shift the trajectory of your entire destiny. How much time, energy, and effort have you really given to your dreams? Have you fully bought in to the point where you are making the sacrifice to be there mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? Or are you distracted while you're trying to build? Can you imagine, just for a moment, imagine if a construction worker went about building a building the way that a lot of us drive, distracted and on our phones. Would you trust a construction worker to lay your foundation while he was scrolling on social media? Would you trust a construction worker to set the balance beams in your home while he was scrolling through notifications on FaceTime? Imagine you walking into your construction site for your brand new home and someone is trying to lay the foundation for your home while they're on FaceTime, while they're on social media, and stuff is being unleveled, and you see the foundation is lumpy in certain areas and not consistent in others, you would be so frustrated. Why? Because your whole passion would be rooted in, I hired you to do a job and you are not even completely focused in order to do what's necessary or what I hired you to do. Can I tell you something? That a lot of us are going through life in terms of our dreams and our destiny that same way. We are not completely locked in. When you sit down to try to write the book that you know that you've been supposed to write 5, 10 years ago, you're so distracted. You got so many notifications going on. When you sit down to pray, you sit down with your phone in your hand. So every notification, it's causing you to be distracted. When you start to work out and you're trying to do the things that are necessary for your health, you got all of the snacks in the cupboard. So every time you try to lock in, there are distractions, there are hindrances, there are obstacles, there are barriers that we have the power to remove. If you stop to remove the obstacles and barriers that you had the power to remove and locked in, I'm telling you, your entire life could change with one moment of complete alignment. Can this year be the year? I'm pushing all chips to the middle of the table. I'm going all in. Can this be the year that you go all in on you? Because one moment of complete alignment can literally change your entire life. What's the last thing? What's the last thing I want to give you? The funny part about it is about this solar eclipse. The funny part about this solar eclipse is depending on where you were, it affected what you were able to see. Some people only experience half, 50% of totality, or 60% or 70% or 90%. Where we were, we experienced 99.7%. So 0.3% away from 100% totality, but there were certain people who experienced 100% totality in their path line. They experienced 100% totality of the solar eclipse. And what I realized in that moment is that depending on where you are, depending on what you are working on, depending on what you are building, everybody won't see what you see. From your perspective and from your vantage point, people are going to see different things from their level of perspective. We can only operate to our level of exposure. So if people have not been exposed to the level that you are headed to, you will continue to bang your head against a brick wall trying to explain vision to blind people. People will not see what you see. This is why you have to know what you know and believe what you believe and stand on the truth that is in you. Because if you are relying on everyone to get into alignment and in sync with your dreams, with your goals, you will be waiting forever. Because everybody won't see what you see. But here's the truth. You don't need them to see what you see while you're building. They will see it after it's built. Going back to the analogy of the construction worker. When they are laying the foundation, when they're putting up the walls, people can't conceptualize what the house is going to look like as a finished product. The only people who know what it's going to look like outside of the construction workers are the architects. I know what the plans are. I know what I establish. I know what's being built. So I won't get swayed by people saying, well, I can't see, how is this going to be the kitchen, or how is this going to be the bathroom? This is just a slab of concrete. You don't see what I see because you don't have the plans that I have. Everybody won't see what you see. There are some people who may see pieces of it. Some people who may see pieces of your purpose, pieces of your dreams, and they'll only be able to agree with you or support you up to a certain point. Can I tell you that support is an accessory and not a necessity? Support is an accessory. It's something that is an added benefit. But when you have a made up mind, when your plans are clear, when you know what you are building, when you know what you are working on, it doesn't matter who supports you. What matters is that I know the plans, I know what I'm working on, and they will see it when I'm done with it. Now, this is a great thing to look for, is finding someone who doesn't need to see the plans to support the plans. Those are the people who can go along with the vision, who can run with your idea, who can support you, who can hold you accountable. But everybody is not going to see what you see. It doesn't matter if they don't see it, because the dream and the destiny and the purpose was not given to them. The plans were not given to them. They were given to you. And if you continue down the path of your purpose and the plans and the destiny that has already been orchestrated and constructed for you, despite what people see, despite what people say, despite the experiences that you may have going along the way, if you are consistent and you have the drive to push past what everybody sees and what everybody says, then you will become unstoppable. And there was nothing that can stop you from building what you desire to build and bringing it from conception to completion. The only thing that can stop you from a once in a lifetime opportunity, from coming into a complete alignment, and from holding on to the vision is you. But once you lock in, nothing will ever be able to stop you from doing what only you were created to do. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I hope that you got something out of this episode. Listen, no matter what happens in life, no matter what you are facing, no matter what you are coming up against, it's imperative to know that you have everything inside of you you need to overcome and succeed when life happens.